right. Just gonna play for me. Play the song. That was supposed to play the War Report song. Let me try that again. Play. Yeah.
Got it.
Here we go.
Mr. War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody to another edition of the War Report After Dark. A little Logan Paul just for Eric. I saw some chatter. We'll dive into that shortly. But welcome everybody to another edition. Sorry, I don't know what the hell happened. I was on with Mitch and then all of a sudden I lost all connection to StreamYard. I had to reboot. But it looks like all is good now.
Yeah, I actually liked that, man, because it was interesting. I pressed the button I pressed the button to play the theme and it wouldn't load, so I went back into it. So I was playing the War Report thing, and just as you popped in my head, I'm like, I bet you he's gonna have the wrestling theme, whatever he picked,
ready to go.
I had something on standby, but I was like, I knew you had something. So as soon as you popped in, you hit it. It was like, that was perfect. So yeah, guys, welcome to the show. We got that's from Tara.
So,
God damn it, why?
Yeah, we'll catch up quickly on some comments. So of course we have Tara. Dave Abbey over at YouTube tags worked better this week. We'll definitely dive into all that, and then of course, hold on. Our good friend over at YouTube, before we got started, we have David Roscoe over at YouTube. What's up, guys? Liv Morgan has a lesbian crush on Becky Lynch.
Coming out hot on a Tuesday. Like, that's out of the gate. Good
that's his opening comment.
That's
so
awesome.
we'll discuss that. Nadia invented yoga as a women's gymnastics living legend. That's wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah.
And Trish Stratus' daughter looks like little Nadia. I wouldn't know either. Tara just broke her TV. Let's start with this, because this is the biggest thing to happen since we spoke last week, is that they've announced Cody's newest competitor for the world title, and it is Logan Paul, which is of course why I decided to start with it. And actually, come to think of it, I don't think we've ever started with his music. So
I don't think so.
And it is good music.
I didn't even recognize it, to be honest.
I kind of figured you would say that. So here, I'm going to just say this, and then I'm going to give it to you guys to kind of follow up and see what you think. But I look at this Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes thing two different ways. On one hand, what bothers me the most is that means the U.S. title's not being defended at the pay-per-view.
Well,
so on the other hand, we have been saying, what do you do with Cody now? Vince, you have said, what are they going to do now? Now they're going to have to find people that are going to be able to put Cody over and have great matches and like fill from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. And this pay-per-view seems to have approached very quickly, considering we just had one 2 weeks ago. I didn't even realize it was this Saturday. I'm not even going to watch it until Sunday. But I honestly think this is going to be a great match. Logan Paul has impressed me time and time again, so I'm not worried about him being able to keep up with Cody. I think Cody is going to work well with Logan. The promo work that they had was great. So on that, I'm not mad at him being... It's not going to hurt Logan by losing, and he's going to lose. So it doesn't hurt Logan at all, and it gets us to the next chapter of Cody's title reign. I'm not mad at it, other than the fact that I think it sucks that Logan's not defending the U.S. title.
But isn't he defending it? Aren't they both putting the titles on the line?
That's what Cody said on...
Oh, that's right. It is title for title. Well, then I'm not mad at it at all. You're right. You're right. He said then I take that back. I'm not mad at it at all. I have no problem with this match.
Can you imagine...
And for anyone saying that Logan just, he's been there 5 minutes, he doesn't deserve a title match, he's been there 3 years, just to go on record.
He got a title match last year, too, and lost to Roman Reigns. So in the exact same pay-per-view. So I feel like it's one of those things where they know internally that Logan Paul is a draw for, the people of Saudi Arabia. I mean, and in general, he's a worldwide known internet guy. But these are, it's a glorified house show. Lost access to my Facebook account. I'm going to reconnect my destination. Okay.
Interesting that would happen during the show.
Yeah, why wouldn't it happen before? But anyway, I'm going to fix that as I'm talking about it. It's basically, these Saudi shows are pretty much glorified house shows. There's not much, not much going on in terms of...
Well, but we do always say those shows...
They turn out good, but what I'm saying is they don't...
from a production standpoint are phenomenal.
Right. I think the world title's only changed hands maybe once or twice during these 10 or 12 Saudi shows. So they don't do a bunch of title changes on there unless it's like a minor, a lesser
I feel like
championship.
it had to be either Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns.
Tara says maybe he won't show up since Mike Tyson's going to murder his brother. Unfortunately, that massacre is going to be happening after this pay-per-view. So.
Oh, and that'll be interesting, too.
I can't wait to watch that. That's going to be great.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know what kind of shape Mike Tyson's in. Like, he looked, the videos
I've been seeing some videos.
He's 57, 58 years old. Listen, and this kid's like,
Mike Tyson.
No, Jake is getting big, though.
What's that?
Jake put on some weight.
Yeah, the kid put on weight to get up to heavyweight.
Right now.
Yeah, Jake Paul's looking juicy.
But Jake hasn't fought any, credible people at all.
No, and that's kind of the criticism of him is that
he kind of picked and chose, kind of like Mayweather did.
But the argument is that he's selling a lot of pay-per-views, so he's allowed to do that. And But the criticism from real boxing people, on the boxing stuff that I follow, is that he's not considered a real boxer by true fans of boxing, and then the professionals within it. And they said he could be. He has good fundamentals, but what he needs to do is what everybody else does: start at the amateur level, Golden Gloves, whatever it is, and work your way up. And he just chose to skip the line by doing these matches. Understandable with the kind of name he has, but also if he wants to actually challenge for a real boxing title, he's gonna have to go way back and step back and
his credit goes through the roof if he actually can take down Mike Tyson. And yes. I think Tyson's gonna absolutely annihilate him. But listen, I don't want to get off topic. Eric, what's your biggest beef? I know you don't like Logan Paul, but listen, you're not supposed to like him.
On the chat, I have a issue with the match, but it's not why you might think.
Okay, then explain.
For me, and I guess it changed now that both titles are on the line and all that. But my initial problem was that with both champions facing each other, it kind of takes away an opportunity and exposure for another wrestler to get. That's really
and that's why you have multiple championships, is so you can have multiple But you know what? But you can also look at it as let's say for example, you may be right in that one instance. But then you have a King of the Ring tournament that is utilizing a lot of fresh new talent and young talent and giving them main event spots on Raw and SmackDown right now. So it's kind of like give and take, right? It is a Saudi show, so it's not like it means anything other than it's just a fun show to watch. But does it really mean anything?
Not really. You know what I mean? Some storylines will progress, this and that. So I don't think it's going to take away. Listen, they're still figuring out who's going to be number one contender for the U.S. title going forward. Obviously, this match has to end Fugazi, where no titles exchange. It's got to be a double DQ or something.
Or a double count out.
Yeah, or like Cody's next opponent is going to interfere. It's like something's going to happen.
Yeah, because if the problem is if Cody does win, then he's going to end up vacating it right away. So what's the point?
Right.
So
unless Logan,
it probably will be that kind of a finish. And I'm the match itself, I think, will be good. I agree with you there.
Sure.
But for me, for Logan Paul, it's I don't mind watching him wrestle. I just don't watch his segments because I can't stand him talking or seeing him.
It's really, you got to get over it. I think it's the same thing with McAfee, which I still blows in my mind because some of the shit he says is just so outrageously funny. But he's cutting good promos, and they're making sense. They're believable. He's really bought into becoming a WWE superstar, so to speak. I don't know.
I don't know how to explain it. All I know is
listen, some people will give you nails to the chalkboard. I have that with Zoe Starks, who lost, by the way.
Yes.
All's good in the world. I did predict that like Babe Ruth last week. Oh, I always liked her, but now I love her.
Yeah.
So, new favorite.
Yeah.
I can't
she's the new queen.
It, but it's
she's up there.
Sometimes people's, how they perform in the ring sometimes is irrelevant if I can't connect with a character. That's like Orange Cassidy. Okay, he can go.
You know what Eric's problem is? Why he can't connect with this character? Because it's not a character. It's really Logan Paul, and he's just such a dick. And that's what he can't connect with, right? That's really what... Because he's not playing a character. He's Logan Paul.
Orange Cassidy
someone
is
like
great.
Orange Cassidy, I've seen his matches. Yeah, he can go. But I don't care. Because his gimmick is fucking stupid, so I don't connect with it.
It's a lot different than it was, though, because he's not...
Danhausen, too. I don't get it.
Well, Danhausen's Danhausen.
I love Danhausen.
He's his own separate thing. He's like a late night horror movie host from public access television, and they put him in a wrestling ring. That's his deal. He's apparently having some sort of weird thing where he's more of a character in AEW and he wants to be more of a wrestler, and they're like, you're more of a character, bud. You're more of a gimmick.
I'm sorry, no one should be selling for that shit.
It's
fun, curses and all that shit.
It's hilarious.
What's funny about it is that the guy is he never does anything directly spooky or magic. He just does this, and then something bad happens that may or may not be related. It doesn't necessarily mean he has magic powers. It's just kind of like that.
But it's what makes it great. You know what I mean?
But when you see that happen in a match, it's also kind of an interesting thing. When that happens
yes!
in a match, then you're watching, you're going, something's going to happen to this guy. What's going to happen?
Dave Abbey has nailed it on the head. He is the Caucasian R-Truth.
Danhausen?
Speaking of which, R-Truth again. Great this week. Even at a house show, did you guys see the video where he came out during Judgment Day's entrance? I mean, he's fucking great. Everything about him. And then the promo, and she said a word that means nothing regarding sex or anything, and he goes, I don't even know if that's PG.
That's great.
He is gold. So all right, enough of Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes. Anyone else have anything they want to add to that? But I think we've...
No, that's pretty much how I feel about both of them. Enough already.
I want to talk about the presentation and the first look of, Bloodline 2.0, but we got the first one-on-one match with the newest member of the Bloodline. We got to see them come out with the fire, the new the new song for Tama Tonga and his brother. I guess they're going to probably share the same music. I thought the entrance was great. I love everything about Tonga. I thought the match was what you would expect it to be. It's still keeping it interesting. Paul Heyman is just outstanding. Him coming out looking terrified all the time is just absolute gold. The promo that Solo cut backstage about being drafted 3, and basically blaming Paul Heyman, and then the look when he hugged him. Like, it's all coming together really well. I want to throw this out to you guys, because I was thinking about this the whole time. We keep talking about Jacob, and we keep talking about Jacob's going to come in, and we were expecting him to be, but we got Tama, and then we got his brother. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that Jacob isn't next. Coming, I want to make sure this comes out right. So, this whole time I'm thinking, Jacob's going to come and join this new bloodline. But what if he doesn't? And what if he's recruited by Jimmy and Jay and Paul, and he's a part of the old bloodline when Roman comes back, and now you have Jacob Fatu, more of a face than a heel. It would be a new bloodline member that for the first time is coming in as a face, not a heel. Mm-hmm. There is fear, from what I'm hearing, there is fear backstage that Jacob may overtake Solo in terms of popularity and in-ring capability, because Jacob is one of those guys that does things that guys like him shouldn't be able to do. Solo is more of just a ground and pound and submission and suplex, like, a typical Samoan. So,
well, I think.
What do you guys think?
Here's my thought on that, and I don't hate it. I think what might happen is, with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa being surprises that Solo kind of sprung on Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, I think this would be the way I would do this. Paul Heyman at one point, whether it's SummerSlam or wherever it is, Clash at the Castle, whomever, when they're getting ready to debut Jacob, it will be Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman will say, "Hey, I got a surprise for you. I signed your cousin." And then he comes out. And you're right, he's going to be a babyface because the big pop is going to be that Jacob Fatu's there. But he's going to come in and Paul's going to be like, "I hired him for the bloodline because he's family." And they're going to be like, "I don't like that." Solo's not going to like it. He's going to be with them initially. And there's going to be tension between him and Solo. And then, yes, he'll defect to the bloodline Hollywood side. And then the bloodline Wolfpack will be Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Solo. And then we have the NWO Civil War. Brother. But I think him coming in as a babyface, or coming in as a heel on the team, but eventually you can see that it's like a break off and a turn is coming. As long as he ends up being a babyface, I think. I mean, he looks just like Umaga. He moves as good, if not better than him. I mean, wrestling has progressed so much since Umaga passed that, if Umaga had the same kind of training, he might be able to pull off the same kind of moves. But this is just like the next evolution of that character. It's not just a Samoan savage that doesn't speak English or whatever. He's that build and that athleticism, but then he's smart and he can actually wrestle. So I think there's a big upside to Jacob, and I think the idea of playing into the real life theory or fear that he's going to overshadow Solo would be the way to go. So use that tension of oh man, Jacob's going to outshadow Solo, and then that's what causes the tension between those two guys.
Although I have to say that Solo has really improved a lot and come a long way in the last 2 years.
1,000%.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And he's we never knew really that he had all these mic skills and stuff like that. And this coming out in the suit, man. I mean, damn, that's a good. It's like the Samoan Horseman kind of thing. It's great.
I do think maybe we're going to need names. Like maybe is it just going to be the Bloodline versus the Usos? Or are we going to have like something else come out of this? Do we have a new name for the faction?
I'll tell you what I do like is the possibility of Guerrillas of Destiny versus the Usos in a goddamn dream match.
Yeah, and I mean, those the Tongans were always kind of the second tier of the Bullet Club. I wouldn't, I'm not expecting 5-star classics out of either of them, but I know Tama's the better singles wrestler, I believe, but I also think they're a better package deal than they are individual, because their solo runs in New Japan were kind of but their tag team stuff was always, and I think that's just, I don't know if it's a brother thing. I don't know if it's a Tongan/Samoan thing where they're just like tag team specialists. I really don't know what it is, but there's something about it where those two guys as a package, as like you said, the Guerrillas of Destiny, are better than the individual parts.
Yeah, because because Tongaloa, unfortunately, if he does go solo, people are just going to remember he was Camacho,
Gosh, they can't ever bring that up or the whole thing's dead.
Nor should they.
They should just bury it. Camacho was a whole other guy. He was Mexican.
Also, you've got on the horizon at some point within the next year or two is Zillafatu, who's Umaga's actual son.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, they can, as long as that family keeps cranking out athletes, they're going to have a...
Well, listen, you also have the Tonga twins.
Yes.
Who just left WOW.
Yeah.
So they can always come in because they're bloodline also. They're related.
Yeah.
So you can bring them in and finally get some women in the bloodline too.
I didn't realize they were related. That's the funny thing.
Apparently Samoans and Tongans are interchangeable.
Apparently they're all somehow related.
I would not say that in a group of Tongans or Samoans.
Yeah.
Just to be, they are they're islands that are not very close together. But the reason,
right? No, I'm saying that because a lot of people assume that.
Oh, they do. Yes, and there's
like WWE probably does.
WWE's playing into the fact that people assume Tongans and Samoans are the same just because they're like Pacific Islander kind of. But there is there's a legitimate connection between all of them, between adoptions and marriages and kids and uncles and shit. They're all related. It's just that's the way.
Except for Samoa Joe, he's the only one that's.
Yeah, he's the only one that's not.
The only one, and you know he's not because he doesn't look. He looks. He's a different. He's like a Hawaiian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a real. Like he's got a different look to him than the other guys.
What? So I'm very excited for when Roman comes back. The babyface pop he's going to get is going to be insane. It's going to be fun to watch. Ilya Dragunov has been the most impressive call-up we've gotten so far.
Oh, for sure.
I love this guy.
I mean, he's always been great, and I've seen some of his NXT stuff, but I don't really watch NXT. Some of the stuff I've seen, but his 2 matches so far on the main roster have been absolutely phenomenal, and I am very excited to see what is about to happen between him and Gunther.
And they were very kind to him in giving him those quality opponents, too.
Yeah, for sure. But that's going to be impressive. David Roscoe, Gunther will win King of the Ring. You know what? This is finally something you said that I can't necessarily argue or disagree with.
If it leads to him challenging against Cody at SummerSlam or something, I absolutely think that he should win King of the Ring.
I mean, it makes the most sense on paper.
Unless, the other thing that's looking like is Jey Uso. Like, what if Jey Uso just has this like legendary run through King of the Ring where he beats Gunther?
He's on fire right now.
Yeah.
He is on fire, but I think it would mean more if Gunther won King of the Ring.
Oh, I think so too, especially if it's going to be in...
But Jey also can't lose every big opportunity that he gets. So...
Right.
I might set up Logan Paul versus Jey Uso for the U.S. title at SummerSlam.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea, because then...
I'm not against that idea.
Because then Jey could be U.S. champ.
There's a little history because of Logan's match with Roman last year.
I'm not against the idea.
Yeah, why not?
I love what they're doing with Chad Gable right now.
She's
Oh, this is really good.
And I love McAfee's commentary when it comes to Chad Gable. I mean, it's just absolutely gold. But everything he's doing to Otis and Tozawa and what's her face, I'm loving everything about it. I just they're obviously waiting probably until after this pay-per-view to get rid of them out of the group and bring in the Creed brothers, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so.
But, yeah. David Roska, Cody Rhodes will beat Logan Paul for the U.S. champion to keep his...
So he wants him to be double champ.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's gonna be a Fugazi finish.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be some kind of...
Although no one expected Seth Rollins to beat John Cena for the U.S. title. But at the same time, they didn't want him to lose the WWE title to John Cena.
Was that where Jon Stewart interfered?
That was the
Jon Stewart. That was funny.
That Jon Stewart turn was
weird.
Fantastic.
That was hilarious.
And I love his reasoning too. He didn't want Cena to tie Flair's record.
I mean, at least it made sense.
Yeah,
like it was logical.
That's the thing about heels too, is that a lot of times they may not go about it the way that one should, and that's make them heels, but they almost always have good points and motivations for what they do.
The best kind of bad guy is a justified bad guy. Like even Drew McIntyre. He's not wrong. He has a perspective on things and an opinion on things, and sometimes he gets in his own way, but in general, he's not wrong. Like he's very justified in feeling the way he feels about everything that's going on. So yeah, like that's the kind of thing you want is a guy you can look at and you go, this actually makes sense. Because otherwise then you're spending time going, why did the bad guy do this?
I mean, you have to feel bad for him. You have to feel bad for him.
Maxine?
No, for Drew McIntyre.
Oh, Drew, yeah, absolutely.
He did get the raw end of the deal.
He got to be champion.
No pun intended.
Seriously. How about Lillian Garcia?
Oh, my God.
That was a nice surprise.
Right.
She's fucking aging like a fine wine. She looks exactly the same she did 20 fucking years ago.
Crazy.
She sounds exactly the same. She gave flowers to Samantha, which is huge, and then she did some of the ring announcing. It was good to see Lillian back. Apparently, she was just coming over to say hi, and Trips told her, why don't you go out there and be a part of the show? I mean, it literally happened that quickly, like it was not pre-planned.
That's good because it's nice that they acknowledge her like that because not that
she was one of the best.
Right, she was, and I feel like I don't want to say she was underrepresented, but when they talk about females in the WWE, I do think that because she was quote unquote just a ring announcer, which as a fellow ring announcer I hate that shit. She might have been just the ring announcer, but she was a big fucking. She was
a lot more though. She got involved in some story.
Right. She took bumps. She was involved. Yeah. She did interviews.
Yeah, I mean, she
sang the national anthem.
Her voice is incredible. I mean, she's got an amazing voice. She's beautiful.
One of the best parts of going to like WWE house shows and shit was hearing Lillian Garcia sing the national anthem before the show. I love that. That was such a cool. What is she in the? She's not.
I don't think she is. I don't know if I got to tell you, I think she should be in there.
100%.
Outside of Howard Finkel, I don't think any ring announcers in the Hall of Fame. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right because I mean he was their ring announcer for so long. David Penzer was WCW's guy; he wouldn't be in there. Everybody else, Justin Roberts. I mean,
I think
they're still working.
think Lillian should definitely be in there.
Absolutely.
I can already say with the utmost confidence that Samantha one day definitely belongs in there because she is one of the best ring announcers I've ever heard. She's great. The emotion that she puts into it and her spin on the entrances, I absolutely love her.
Chelsea Green.
I love it. I mean, everything she does. It's and then even the fact that at one dial it back, and then the fans like outright, and then they said, "All right, fuck that, keep going, do your thing." So she's doing it right.
Again, as somebody who did not at the level she was at, because I mean she was goddamn WrestleMania 40, but like working the indies for so long and often getting the note of be more in the background, don't stand out, do your announcements with, take a little off of them so they're more uniform or this, that, and the other thing. Hearing that kind of stuff was always very disheartening, and it wasn't an individual problem. It was kind of an industry-wide problem until Bruce Buffer for the UFC became as big of a deal. And his brother, Michael Buffer, was the Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy, and he's great in his own way. Bruce Buffer is a legend for a reason. And I'm glad that he was able to change that perception for people, because now they know there are certain things, it's time, his catchphrase and shit like that. And like, they're catching on to like the different ways. Samantha's doing it. Even Justin Roberts in AEW has different, like the thing for John Moxley where he says John for a really long time. And when he announces people from Minnesota, like he does weird things like that. Oh, they call him the Natural. I love little shit like that for ring announcers. Yeah. It adds, I think, again, my philosophy was always as a ring announcer, I need to put as much into this announcement as I can, because if I care, then the audience is going to care. Why would they care about a guy for me to go, and here's Steve? Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, why would I not give it enough where the audience is up, and when they hear this Steve Glenn, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad she gets that kind of leeway with her announcing, and I'm glad to hear that there was a directive where they were like, "Hey, stop that," and then people complained.
If you remember, there were a few weeks where, like, even like when Chelsea Green was coming out, she just said Chelsea Green. She stopped doing the green, whatever, and there was an outcry on social media, and then I guess Trips or whoever said, "All right, fuck it, keep doing it," and she kept doing it, and it I don't know, I love everything about her. She's great.
Oh yeah, and I you know what? I thought JoJo did a great job when she was announcing, and Brandy,
she was okay.
Brandy was decent also.
They were okay. To me, they don't hold a candle to Lillian or or Samantha. Not even close.
Did you see within the last couple weeks, Dasha got let go from AEW because she was like making some mistakes in ring announcing. Like
was she?
She was like messing up people's names and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
So and I saw her in Boston, and I thought she did a good job. Like, she wasn't ring announcing. She was just like doing stuff when the cameras were off to keep the audience, excited and shit, like going around and reading signs and wishing people happy birthday. Maybe there just wasn't a role for her, but I liked, she had a reputation as being Dasha Bot and very robotic. And then she really progressed. So I hopefully, whatever she's doing, I hope she continues doing sportscasting or something like that.
Yeah. What else? Anything big happen? This is a slow week in wrestling related. Raw was a good show. SmackDown was a good show for them. Oh, I guess we should talk about the latest QR code.
Oh yes, that was people are talking about that.
So, one of these 20 pictures was a woman that's gone missing. Do you guys know who this woman is? I do.
It's Alexa Bliss.
No.
Right?
They show a picture of this woman. It's not Alexa Bliss, but it's a missing woman who worked out of her home seeing patients. If you remember when they were doing a lot of the Fiend vignettes, he was seeing a shrink.
Yeah. Oh.
This is the shrink. Now they have all that. Now they know what he wanted. That's been the theme of all this. He's letting us free. He's told us what his path was and this and that. So this is the new family that's gonna carry out the Fiend. And I really hope they don't fuck this up. The QR codes have been great. Like it's getting me excited. Like the things that they're using, like the Fiend shrink, like. In part of the clues and stuff, but It's all going to come down to who is going to be in this group. And if Alexa Bliss is not a part of it.
So I think she is. Because, I don't know, was it shared in the group chat or not? There's a thing going around where they're comparing pictures of in the QR code, there were some photos of like pieces of paper or something on a hardwood floor. And then they compared it to pictures of Alexa Bliss's hardwood floor in her house, which is A, kind of creepy, but B, it seems like it is a very similar wood floor. So who knows? The other thing I thought when you were mentioning this, I didn't realize you were going with the therapist route, was somebody said that the date that the therapist went missing was the last day that Alexa Bliss appeared on TV. And I don't know if that's true or not.
That I don't know. But then there was something about, there was a date this time, which I think said the 14th at 4 p.m. or something. And then it said which. But I don't know what the fuck that means. What would happen at 4 o'clock today? Or today's the 14th. Is it the 14th or 15th?
Today's the 14th.
No, on the paper. I don't remember.
I don't recall that. But what would...
I can't remember now.
Would it be a date that they have a show? Would it be like, Friday's date? Whatever that would be, the 16th, 17th? Because then that would make sense. And then you'd reveal something leading up to SmackDown or having it air on SmackDown.
What if the therapist's alter ego was, who do you call it? Sister Abigail.
Oh, I was thinking, what if it was the doctor from Kane and Daniel Bryan's anger management? Dr. Shelby. Dr. Shelby's been behind the Fiend the whole time.
I would love to see Dr. Shelby again. That would be great.
I mean, he was like an actor. Like he had an IMDb page and everything. Like the guy's just like a character actor, like a background guy. But he
did a good job. What segment he'd be funny in the whole Chad Gable thing?
Oh yeah, if they had some kind of conflict there and they brought him in to do anger management, yeah. You know who I didn't mind, and I think people listen. The execution was poor, but I think the idea was good. Was stand-up comedian Thea Hale as Shelton Benjamin's mama.
Mama Benjamin.
Mama Benjamin. I thought there was room for that idea to grow. It was ridiculous, but I think there was a way to execute that would have been great. What? Oh, Steve's typing. How to kick another admin from StreamYard for having a bad opinion.
I'm trying to see if I can find the QR code thing.
There's also been like Roman numerals and such inside the QR codes when people go digging around, and they're matching them up to like birthdays of the rumored people that are in the group. So this could all be red herrings that they're throwing in, but it does seem like the names that are mentioned are lining up with the rumored group of like Nikki Cross and Joe Gacy and that stuff. Now listen, if they completely rebrand these guys and Joe Gacy ends up being like Huskus the Pig, then maybe it'll be fine. But I can't just have regular ass Joe Gacy bumming around this fucking group. You know what I mean? Like that's not interesting to me.
Yeah, some are like, I think Dexter Loomis is on that list.
He wouldn't be a bad choice at all.
But, I mean, I like obvious ones like Braun and Rowan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, those guys are I think Rowan's definite. Braun should be. I don't know. There's no reason for Braun not to be involved in this, as far as I'm concerned. Just because, like,
can't get past JD,
dude. But it has to be like Steve's right. This has to be done right. They can't fuck it up. It's very delicate. Yeah, this is a tough needle to thread because you're trying to honor the legacy of a guy that passed away, and still like make it make sense within the larger context of WWE, and then involve all these new players. And maybe they were always the plan. Maybe this was always the plan, and that each puppet came to life as a human and the human embodied the spirit of like I said, Huskus the pig and the witch and the buzzard, Mercy the buzzard. So each of them would have their entrance stuff or their attire, or maybe they'll have a creepy mask that will be reminiscent of each of the puppets.
Like I said, I just hope they don't fuck this up.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I remember like during the pandemic when they had like the even before, I think it was maybe around the time when they had that Thunderdome thing, or maybe even before, and you had all the Bray Wyatt's puppets, and they were all wearing masks.
Oh yes, they all had COVID masks.
That was hilarious.
And then they had the giant creepy ones at Bray's last match when after Uncle Howdy did the jump off the thing, and they had all the creepy other, like they had life-size puppets. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I'd like to think that Bray might have left a bunch of ideas of his.
That's what they say, is that he wrote a bunch of notes on what
and
was going.
So that way, like, his stuff could come to life, in years to come.
Oh, let's hope. Dave A, did they already turn Braun Breaker into heel after about 15 minutes? Did they do that, Steve? Did he come up as a babyface and then they turned him heel pretty quickly?
I mean, it definitely looks like it's heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Who was his last opponent?
It was Smo Joe because he's fat.
I think it was Cedric Alexander, actually.
Yeah.
I think that was the last person he fought, but he's pissed off with...
He wasn't in the King of the Ring tournament or whatever,
right.
So he had to talk with Adam Pearce. Yeah, something's going to happen with that.
Oh, and we're getting, the only thing they ever do with him, but we're getting more badass Shinsuke videos, even though it's not going to lead to any victories, but we're getting them.
They're entertaining, at least.
They are entertaining.
I want them to do, how they have the Royal Rumble by the numbers video every year about how long people have been in the ring and how many eliminations. I need one of those, but just how many times Shinsuke's lost to Cody Rhodes, how many times he's been hit with the crossroads, how many minutes he's been in the ring with Cody Rhodes. It would be the funniest thing to just see all of his losses in a big compilation. This guy, I've loved Shinsuke Nakamura's work since that first NXT match he had with Sami Zayn. That was
I love him.
The most insane thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
I was there for that. It was
great.
I remember.
Oh, dude, that's right. You were, because that was Dallas.
That was Dallas. Yeah.
Man, yeah, that was and since then, man, I've had such high hopes. I've gone to at least one WrestleMania hoping he was going to walk out the world champion, and he has not. And I've been to 5 WrestleManias, so I've been disappointed as a Shinsuke Nakamura fan several times in a row.
It really is amazing.
Yeah.
After all this time, he's never.
WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, he was facing AJ Styles. He hit him in the balls after the match. Why not do it in the middle of the match and then win the title? Fuck.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I couldn't believe it. Slowly turning Damian face.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's happening for sure. And he's getting a pretty decent ovation.
Yeah.
But just the things even in his promo work and the things that he's saying, I like where this is headed. I'm okay with the demise of Judgment Day at this point, because there's too many key players that can really still have a successful run, like Dominic, Rhea, Damian.
Right.
JD, he's the new Dolph Ziggler. He's taking all the kicks, all the punches.
Yeah, he definitely is. And he's whatever. He's fine. I put him on that level of Austin Theory of sure, you can have a match. I just don't really care about it.
Yeah, I agree. I same position. But other than that, I think it's still staying pretty hot. I can't complain. I do love what Triple H has been able to do so far, and hopefully it just keeps it going.
And with the Judgment Day, they could very well break up, depending on how long they anticipate Rhea Ripley's going to be out. The other thing they could do is either tease a breakup or, actually execute a breakup, and then Rhea Ripley comes back and restores order. Because, like, right now, Damian Priest has stepped up to be the voice of reason and, trying to get these guys their heads in the game and all this other shit. So that's good. They have a leader for now. But if there is tension and it looks like it is leading towards a breakup, but if they're looking to not, completely dismantle the Judgment Day, they can do this for a couple months. And then when Rhea Ripley comes back, she's like, Mommy's back and I'm going to take care of business with this. And then get them all,
I think a lot of it is going to determine whether or not Liv and Dom Dom are...
Oh, there's something definitely going on with that.
They're definitely planting those seeds.
Right.
So, which is going to be interesting when Rhea comes back.
Oh, boy. Ooh, boy.
It's going to be great.
Custody for Dom match.
Wonder...
What?
It also kind of makes you wonder the outcome of the Liv versus Becky title match.
No. Well, I could see Liv beating Becky. Becky could have been a placeholder. I mean, nobody knew that that Rhea was going to get hurt, and it doesn't hurt Becky to lose the title at this point. Dario the Hungry, what up? What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in over at YouTube. Anything to get the belt off of Becky.
That's fucking great.
I mean, listen, it would make the most sense. Liv now has a run until Rhea gets back, and Rhea comes back and absolutely annihilates her.
Right. I mean, she did say she was coming for everything that Rhea owned. It would make sense storyline wise. Right. Exactly. If she takes Dominic and then the title, and then Rhea has to come back and win individual match. And Mitch was right. We keep talking about it, and Mitch brought it up a couple minutes ago. The custody of Dominic match has to happen. And then I think there's a separate match for the title. I don't think it's all in one. I think they can, when Rhea comes back.
If they are going to do a true custody match of Dom Dom, they have to put his ass in a cage and put it above the ring while they wrestle.
They have to. Shark cages in storage.
That's what I'm saying. They have to break out the shark cage, and they need to put his ass in there. It's going to be amazing.
Or a forklift like the late Judy Bagwell, R.I.P. Judy.
Oh,
Former WCW World Tag Team Champion.
They hitched her ass up on a forklift and raised her in the air.
That was so funny. And the best part too is that was really his mother.
Right. That was just Judy Bagwell, who's the same Judy Bagwell that called JR and left him a nasty voicemail one time.
She did. She didn't like the way he was speaking about her baby boy. It was so funny.
And Tori Wilson's father was actually her father.
That was really her father, yeah.
That's another one. True. R.I.P. Tori Wilson's father. He passed away the day before she was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was a day or two before she was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. He passed away, and it was all that must be rough. The ups and downs, the ultimate high and low, all in 1 week.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got about 12 minutes left. We're getting to the top of the hour. Anything AEW that we want to talk about, or anything on anyone's minds? Yeah. I will say this: Tony Storm yet again is just absolutely amazing. It's just here. This was so great.
I thought I was going to hear from my challenger, but all I heard was a charity case. So here, you better take this. Tony, I highly suggest
Tony
you
fucking
start
savage.
giving a shit and you start taking this seriously.
Tony fucking
I
savage.
literally fought for my life, and
Says I don't give a fuck about your goddamn seizures.
To finally become AEW Women's Champion.
This is
Tony
it.
said I don't give a fuck about your
I
seizures.
just want to say, everything you've gone through, Serena, I can honestly tell you that I don't give a single solitary shit.
great.
I mean, just the way she says it is just great. I don't care a single shit. Like, she is just gold. And then she gets knocked out.
And then you see Tony Schiavone above her, and you just think he must be thinking, you just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
David Rosca, Deanna from AEW is hot. Deanna's attractive. I don't think she's the hottest, but she's up. When you got a company with Anna Jay.
Yeah, and
Mariah
May, holy moly!
I still got a thing for Saraya. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even after all the work that she's had done, I honestly think I would choose her over Deanna. Dave Abbey, here we go from YouTube. What the fuck happened to Sasha? Something seems off. I'll tell you what the problem is. Number one, she's not Sasha. She's Mercedes. And Tony Khan has botched this entire thing. I said it weeks ago. We were talking about it here on the show that if she wasn't ready or medically cleared to go, just because they were in Boston doesn't mean that's when you have her debut. Because now you're relying her to cut promos. Clearly nobody's writing them, or if anyone's writing them, they're doing a horrible job, or she's just doing a horrible job of delivering them. I don't know. It's falling apart completely.
All right, there are a couple things going on. I was there. It was great. This was a great moment to have her come out and debut in Boston. But I agree. If she wasn't going to wrestle until 6 months later or whatever it is, 3 months later, you don't do that moment. Or you have her come out and say, I'm signing. She literally gets in the ring, signs her contract, and is like, be upfront. I'm not medically cleared. And
when I'm cleared, I'm coming and sign the contract.
Right. And then and then you have your thing. Now you're right. She's kind of, she's coming out every week and cutting these promos. The weird thing is they hired a female writer that Sasha became friends with because she was writing for the WWE at the time and was specifically writing for the women's division. And so Sasha brought this woman in to deal with her creative. The problem is she was writing TV for Vince McMahon. So the way that she writes TV is very, it's the same thing when Punk came in and tried to make things a lot more WWE style than the independent wrestling style of AEW. So I think that has something to do with it. Sasha is not exactly Laurence fucking Olivier out there either. I like her, but she's never been known as a strong promo. And I think putting her out there for long periods of time where she's talking is not, as Barbara, I love the show's the perfect evolution of Beard.
So we got
Eric in there.
Polar Knights over at Twitch. So thank you for checking us out and participating in the show.
It's the perfect cycle.
But as a barber, I love this show. It is like the perfect evolution of beard growth. That's fucking great. Well, we appreciate it, man, and spread the word on Twitch. We would love to get more followers, but thank you for checking us out.
Thank you very much. Put this one up from Dave because I do want to address this.
The story with Willow is right there, but it doesn't feel like it's building. Listen, he's right. The story's there. And you also have a built-in story with Saraya. You haven't even touched that yet. What are we waiting for? And that's the story.
And I think, and I think, again, this...
Bitch, you almost ended my career. Now I'm back. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think this her not being able to get physical definitely hurts the ability to help sell this storyline. Her being able to at least wrestle in a tag match and only do 20% of the work, it would be great if she could just get out there and take a couple bumps. But obviously, she's not clear to do that. The other problem with the Willow storyline is that Willow is, I hate to be hyperbole, but I'll say for comparison of the women's division, Willow is the new Dusty Rhodes of that division. She has the charisma. She has the crowd behind her. She's got an energy that nobody else in that division has. She's a very unique character amongst women's wrestlers and has a unique connection with the crowd that a lot of women's wrestlers don't have. And a lot of male wrestlers don't have as well. But I'm just saying because there are fewer women's wrestlers, this is even more rare. And Sasha's trying to come in as and I know they're teasing like tension and stuff, but they very much position Sasha or Mercedes as a babyface, big babyface. It's okay, I think, for the debut. I need my autofocus to come back in. But if she came out as a babyface and signed her contract, great reaction in Boston, and then like the next week did something and turned heel, it would feel more authentic. It would make more sense, and then you truly have, rather than like half the crowd cheering for Sasha or half the crowd cheering for Willow, you have a heel and a babyface defined going.
The reality is, when you have somebody like Mercedes Sasha coming in, you have no choice but to have her come in as a babyface. Right? Because it's a huge deal that she's showing up in AEW. But you're right. That doesn't mean a week later you can't have her do something that right away turns her to the biggest heel in the company.
Because I think that's where
people would expect it coming from her. Right. I mean, when she made her last return to WWE and she came out and was all huggy with Natty and then ripped the wig off and beat the shit out of her, and she was heel instantly.
And something like that would work, and I think her... excuse me, even her joining the Elite would work.
Yeah.
Like if she was the first female member of the Elite. Tara's back. Hey, Tara, you got a lot of catching up to do, but it's all right. Good news about that is it's saved on Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and or YouTube.
Or so we think.
Yeah.
definitely on YouTube and iTunes and iCloud, Stitcher, and all that other shit.
But yeah, I think, the strength of having Mercedes Moné on your roster is she's great as a heel. There's not a lot of money, pardon the pun, in a babyface Mercedes. I think she should be a heel. And honestly, the scuttlebutt online is the fans would prefer if she she has to beat Willow because it's her first match back and she has to avenge being injured in the New Japan Strong Women's Tournament finals for the title and all that. But like, it makes Willow seem like and makes her a transitional champion and doesn't really do her a lot of good. And if Mercedes should have, like you said, going against somebody like Saraya, who you have a built-in story, there's no title on the line, all that stuff. Without the title being on the line, then you can do more stuff. You could have, in her first match back, it looks like she's going to win, and then what's her name? Harley Cameron, who's with Saraya, interferes and causes a disqualification or whatever, and then you build to the next one. Or it's just an easy win for Sasha to pick up over Saraya, who, Saraya can easily take a loss from somebody like Sasha Banks and, be okay moving forward. So, yeah, I think there's ways they could have gone about this, and I think there's ways they could fix it, but as it stands right now, Mercedes Moné herself needs to find a direction, like if it is fully going heel or fully going babyface, and let's move forward with it and fucking execute it. But part of that execution is wrestling. Like, she has to be, if she's not medically cleared, I don't want to see her. You know what? Hey, we're at wherever physical therapy. We're here with Sasha Banks and she's doing physical therapy, and you can show her like those Triple H videos. And when you are with me, and like, Creed is playing and she's doing lat pull downs and shit. Mitch, if you've never seen this, there's a SummerSlam comeback video for Triple H set to Creed, and then he comes out and like the crowd loses their minds because Creed just got them so fucking hyped for Triple H. But just if she can't wrestle, she shouldn't be on TV, because I don't feel like she has a strong enough personality or promo skills to necessitate being on TV every week. Like, comparison, Will Ospreay. When he's not, he wrestles most weeks, but when he's not wrestling, he comes out and he does that bruv promo. I'm the feeling, bruv. We got the feeling, bruv, and gets people hyped up. Sasha Banks doesn't elicit that kind of response from people, unfortunately. So I feel like, they have to maximize her minutes. Don't give her a lot of minutes, but when she's out there, make it purposeful.
Or there's another solution. You turn her heel and you give her a mouthpiece.
Turning her heel is
absolutely... She doesn't need to talk. Give her a mouthpiece.
Being in the Elite would be so easy for her, because then Matt and Nick can do the talking. They do it for... And not that Okada can't speak English, because he's obviously can, but like, they're doing most of the talking for this group. It would be really easy for them to be like, we're the EVPs, she's the CEO, this guy's the rainmaker, he makes it rain money. We're all in this together.
Works.
Like, it's such a home run, and maybe they'll go that way. On the flip side, I'm real excited for Christian against Swerve because
Yes.
this is really heating up. And then the Anarchy in the Arena, the new Elite, Jack Perry, Rainmaker Okada, and the Young Bucks against FTR, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson. That's an insane
That's a match.
roster of people to have in one match, and it's Anarchy in the Arena, so it's going to be chaos. We'll see what I mean.
It's going to be amazing. There's, one thing that we always say time and time again when it comes to AEW, 9 times out of 10 the matches are solid. So it's
especially pay-per-views.
Especially pay-per-views. So it's going to be for a good show. And on that note, we are at the top of the hour.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and thank you for if you're a new watcher or listener, we want to thank you as well. We'll let you know we go live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're in a different time zone, just figure that out. Whatever platform you're on, you can just go back there next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, whether that's Twitch or Twitter or YouTube or one of our various Facebook pages. So it should be the @TagMeADate Facebook page, @TagMeADate on Twitter, @TagMeADate on YouTube, and then Twitch is twitch.tv/War Report, all one word, WARREPORT. We're also on my Facebook @OSnapVince in the thing there in my bottom left corner. We're on the Tag Me a Date page. We're also on the War Report page, and we're on Steve's LinkedIn. So we broadcast at a lot of places, but basically wherever you're tuning in from, just keep going back to that platform, and we can, it's StreamYard, so we can read your comments from anywhere. Speaking of, Dave A, thanks always, guys, great shows. I mean, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for the comments, of course, going through. Just thank you, Dave Rosca, coming in hot with the lesbian crush on Becky Lynch thing, which we need to dive into next week, I think. David, we will get to that because I feel like it's worth discussing. I don't know where. Maybe it's worth discussing with your therapist, but I don't know. I want to discuss it on here too. Thank you, of course, Tara, and never apologize for having to skip out on the show. Like, the reason we broadcast live is so you can get it recorded and we can go back and relive all the ha-has and hee-hees we had. So you can definitely go back and listen to that. Dario from the Red Cow Discord, of course. Thank you, my brother, for coming out and listening. He's also in the military, and I think he's shipping back out soon. So thank you for your service, buddy. Polar Knights, we had a new Twitch streamer coming in. Thank you, Polar Knights. And of course, he's a barber. He liked all of our beards. Much appreciated. It's always nice when a barber says they like your beard, because then it doesn't look like shit. And Mitch is out here. He do you have one of those like Kennedy's barber shops where you pay like a monthly fee and you can go get your hair cut like 12 times in a month? Because you're always looking like you just got out of the barber chair.
No, man. I go like once a month.
Oh my god.
I go to like Great Clips. Nothing fancy.
Jeez, this guy goes to a great your beard hairline grows in a very clean way. Like mine's very scraggly. Yours very cleaned up. So I thought you went more often. Now we're just talking about hair, but no, I wanted to know because you always look fresh. Like this guy always comes in. He's got a clean t-shirt. I rolled out of bed, 6 hours ago, maybe. But and I'm wearing it. Actually, that's funny. This is the t-shirt from the Discord. It's a YouTube channel for the Discord that me and Dario were both in. So that's kind of that's interesting. So thanks guys for tuning in. We're @TagMeADate on social media. That's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Did I say Instagram? TikTok is another one. So we're there. @TagMeADate is most social media. TagMeADate on YouTube. Hit the subscribe and hit the bell. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/War Report. You can friend us or favorite us on there, and follow us on Twitter. TagMeADate and the audio podcasts. That was all of our streaming options for the video, but if you prefer an audio version of the podcast, we do an MP3 version. Just go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcast, or Apple Podcasts. We have podcast feeds on all of those. You just have to search for the War Report or Tag Me a Date. It'll be up there. There are 2 podcasts on those services called the War Report that both discuss pro wrestling. But for ease of use, the graphic that we use and the description that we put next to the graphic says Tag Me a Date on it. It has our names in the description. You will know it's us by what we wrote in there. So just hit subscribe, and then within the hour of the podcast going off air, Ryan is nice enough. Ryan, who needs to get his ass back on the show. I hope he's listening. Thank you, Ryan, for the comment earlier about Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, too. But get your ass back on the show. Ryan pulls the audio from our video feed and then uploads it to your favorite podcast app. So whether you need to take it on a long drive like Steve did last week, you had a road trip, or whether you're doing your laundry, you're cooking dinner, or you just want to take a podcast with you somewhere, subscribe on the audio version. You can do that. Otherwise, go back to the archives on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and find your favorite video there. We are sharing reels, like the reels. Share the reels if you find them funny. All that good stuff. We really want to thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Whatever platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc., Facebook, just come right back to that page. Next week, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We've been having some issues with StreamYard connecting to some of these things. So wherever you're listening to us now, go back next week. I promise you we'll be there, even if it doesn't necessarily give you a notification. We will be there. I promise you. All right, 9 p.m. next week, next Tuesday. We'll see you then. Have a nice one.